Hello and all, my name's John Clare, this is John's Dark Art and you are very welcome. The topic I want to discuss today is inspiration. It's a bit of a thorny issue for a lot of artists, some more so than others. You get some artists who are like Pablo Picasso, who during the course of his life banged out 50,000 plus pieces of work, or you could be like Stephen King, who's one of the most prolific writers in modern literature. I mean, I don't even know how many books that man's put out over the course of his career, but it's been a lot. I mean, I'm 42 years old, and obviously I've created during the course of my life quite a lot of work. But at the same time though, I do have these periods in my life where like I'll go for like weeks and months, and at one point even years, without creating anything. There's this half-remembered quote that I remember from Pablo Picasso himself. It was something like along the lines of, "Inspiration is something that finds you working." And I remember hearing that, and I think that kind of struck a chord with me, because I always think it's quite accurate. You see, if I'm creating, it's easier to create, but when I'm not, it's easier to just not bother. It's easier not to kind of, the longer you leave it to start, the harder it is to start. You know, look at an empty page and, you know, struggling to find the inspiration to like make a mark, never mind create an image. And I think that's quite apt. I think it's quite important that, you know, that as an artist, it's something that I'm honest and open about. If I'm gonna come onto YouTube and talk to you about art and my creativity and my process and whatever else, it's important that you kind of also hear the other side of it. The big part of it is consistency. It is consistently putting out work, consistently creating something. And also I think we get kind of lost in the idea of like creating the end product and not enjoying the process. Because the process is as important as the work itself. Because at the end of the day, we put hours of our lives, weeks, months, years even into some pieces. Like some of my drawings, especially my pen and paper stuff, you're looking at over 100 hours I put in. I mean, some of the pieces I put on, some of the digital pieces I've done, you know, 70, 80, 90 hours. That's a lot of time to be dedicated to one drawing, and sometimes it can be pretty exhausting. I've even got a few pieces that I've never completed. I kind of started them, got halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, and just didn't bother my ass finishing them. Yeah, I think it's important to talk about this and be open and be upfront about it. You know, be honest with you, be honest with whatever audience is watching this video, however many of you there are. What is it about inspiration that's so intangible? And that, again, that quote is important. Inspiration is something that finds you working. If you're not working at it, then you're never going to be inspired. I always find the most creative periods of my life is when I'm doing something. If I'm drawing on a regular basis, it's a lot easier for me to come up with new ideas to create more work. Whereas if I'm not, then it's really it's really difficult. I found over the course of the years, I've tried to kind of like develop habits and develop practices that help me keep creating. And one of those is kind of compounding those habits, kind of putting, you know, doing like one or two things at the same time. Like for instance, I don't know, if like at the moment, as I want to publicise my Twitch streams, I found that setting a time for the stream, John's Dark Art by the way, setting a time for the stream and a date for the stream, and sitting down and sticking to it. Right, so if I say I'm gonna stream at Sunday at 1 PM, then I'm gonna be sitting down. I'm gonna have my iPad plugged into my laptop with OBS on it, and it's gonna be and I'm going to be streaming what I'm doing to the world. And then I'm going to be drawing, and I think it kind of puts a positive pressure on me to keep creating. Yeah, it's almost like that structure helps me to keep creating, much like even creating these videos. The fact that we say, myself and my partner Roman say, we are going to partner is my working partner, don't get the wrong idea. We say, okay, we're going to put out a video every week. So in order for us to do that, we record a video every week. We sit down here, we record it, and then we put it out. Structure is important. Compounding habits is important. Like all these kind of things that really kind of help with the process, help you kind of keep moving and keep creating. It keeps those creative juices going. And also variety is a big part. Again, I'm a photographer as well, so I love doing photography. I love going out taking shots, especially in the area that we live in, because it's absolutely gorgeous. But also, you know, I've seen a little bit of the world, so you know, I've done, you know, I've got some pretty good shots in New York, which I'll show you now. So I think like variety is important, compounding habits is important, I think consistency is important, and I think once you get that going, I think it's a lot easier. And also another thing that I want to point out as well, see, with like inspiration is something that finds you working. Now, if you're young and watching this and you aspire to be a successful artist or a successful musician, successful photographer, whatever it is, what you've got to bear in mind is, if you want to make it in these fields, if you're not working on your craft and you're not persistent with your work, change out inspiration for opportunity. Because if you're not putting out the work, you're not going to be creating the opportunities for yourself. And if you don't create the opportunities, you won't find the luck in which it takes you to whatever kind of level of success that you're looking for. So I think it's important to bear a lot of this in mind. But also, like, as I said, you got to enjoy the process. Like, the one thing I love about drawing, like the actual act of drawing, is the process. Like, sitting down and drawing is a wonderful thing, because you enter what's known as a state of flow. There was a psychologist, a Czech psychologist, whose name I can't for the life of me remember, but I'll put it down here. He spotted that, you know, when people enter into a state of flow, it's like you get over this initial sense of inertia, right? So you're sitting down and you've gotten over the point where you're creating something. And once you allow yourself, and you have to, it's almost like you've got to allow yourself to enter into this state. You just draw, and all of a sudden the hours just kind of melt past you. It's actually quite a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful feeling. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling, the state of flow. It's almost transcendental, it's almost meditative. Yeah, you're in this kind of wonderful state where you're just doing. Yeah, I think that you need to allow yourself to encounter that feeling, and you're not going to do it if you're not doing. You know, you need to do, you need to move, you need to create, you need to do things. And like I said, like, once you enter into that state, then yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. And it's one of the reasons why creativity in of itself is so wonderful, because the act of creating and enjoying the process is as important, if not more important, than the actual end result. And the one last thing I want to talk about, probably in of itself, is probably procrastination. Look, we've all been there, man, and it's horrible. Like, going days, weeks and months being miserable about not creating. Like, I am one of the worst people in the world to be around if I'm not making anything. It makes me fucking miserable. Sorry, I know I'm swearing, but still. It makes me miserable. I don't, you know, it makes me harder to be around. I'm much happier when I'm creating. You know, I love sitting down and I love drawing. I'm enjoying streaming. I'm enjoying coming down and making YouTube videos with one of my best friends. If creating art and doing all this, and engaging in all these other activities then helps me create more art, then, you know, for me, it's all the better. Now, obviously what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. You've got to find your own process. You've got to find your own routines. But if what I'm saying, if the advice that I'm giving is any way useful to you, then great, please act on it. you know, because it'll benefit you as a creative. And if you're just beginning at something, enjoy the practice before anything else. Just keep creating. If you're worried about how good, what level you're at, you know, if you don't think your work is very good, well, sorry, mate, nor do I. There are times when I hate what I do. And more often than not, even if the stuff that I like, give it 18 months, a year, me looking back at it, I'll start picking out every single fault in my own work. I am my own worst critic. And that in itself is not a bad thing, as long as you don't allow it to be self-destructive. Accepting criticism is also a good thing, as long as it comes from the right place. Be very judicious about that as well. If someone's coming up and saying that your work's rubbish, then discount it immediately. But if someone is coming at you with the right intentions, wanting to help you, and there are people out there, and if people want to ask me to help them improve, if they like what I do and value my opinion, then I'm more than willing to kind of offer constructive criticism. But also be your own harshest critic. Look at your work with a critical eye and know that you can improve. Look, I'm 42. I've been drawing near enough all my life. And I even, you know, I look at my work incredibly harshly. I'm not always happy with what I do. And I don't think that's necessarily unhealthy, as long as you don't take it too far. But yeah, inspiration, procrastination, opportunity, luck. Inspiration, opportunity, and luck. Inspiration, opportunity, and luck. To summarize what I'm saying here, inspiration is something that finds you working. I've laboured that point. And as I said before, inspiration, you can change out opportunity and luck with that. They are all things that you will only ever get if you're working. And the only thing I can say to finish this off is, look, first and foremost, enjoy your process, enjoy your craft. Then move on. Once you've completed a piece, move on. If you're happy with it, great. If you're not, so what? Start again. If you're searching for inspiration without creating anything, without working towards it, then you'll never find it. So all I can say is, and believe me, this is an issue that I've encountered my entire life, and it's still something I struggle with. But yeah, just keep at it. Keep creating. Share it with the world in whatever way you see fit. Anyway, my name's been John Clare. This has been John's Dark Heart, and you have been very welcome. See you next time.